Hello everyone, Rare Modder Reviews here. We have ourselves a rather hefty unboxing today. So, I'm going to go ahead and first and foremost grab this thing, pull this on down. This thing is huge. Ignore that pile of crap there. That is accessories for my next review. You guys might have an idea of what that said review will be based on what you saw, but moving on. First thing we're going to be unboxing here is going to be from Tamashii Nations. And if you know from this whole box and box thing that Tamashii loves to do, and from the ZGMF lettering there, this indeed is going to be a seed figure. So if I just pop this thing out, we have here the robot side MF. Zagoo. So this is something that was originally from the Gundam Seed series here. I think I already said that, but there was a high grade of this thing, I believe, an original run of the Seed high grades back when Gundam Seed first came out. However, I have a bad experience with the Seed Destiny figures, so I do not want to delve into how good or bad any of the Seed figures are, if they've ever made a high grade of this thing. I feel like they probably didn't, honestly, because it was kind of a bit of an obscure mobile suit. This thing was famously piloted by Rally Crusade, and I just really needed an excuse to get this thing in my collection, so I went ahead and did just that. So the SH Figure Arts figures are pretty amazing, and I love the Mobius Zero from this line that I got as kind of a trial run of this line, so I went ahead and decided, let's go ahead and give one of their mobile suits a try here, as I've heard none but good things from these so far, and honestly, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy what's in the box here. So the figure art stuff, I usually don't open a box up, but I did for the Mobius Zero, so I decided I'd do it for this thing as well. So getting on inside the box here, as with most of this stuff from Tamashii Nations, there's some assembly required. Of course, to be an action figure, most of it is already assembled, so as you can see there's a little piece here for putting this thing on an action base. I'm never sure what these are. I see these all the time. I don't know if that's like another piece for the, like an adapter piece for the action base, but regardless, here we have all the accessories with it. It's like a shield. I think this thing has like a shield / gun thing. There's like some thruster effects there for the backpack. The sword and assault rifle there. And then these, I believe, are some beam effects. So I can't wait to go ahead and fully assemble this thing and review it to you guys. I'm not going to review this thing next week, it'll probably be the week after. However, I can say I ended up not doing a review last Tuesday like I usually do. So I'm going to end up making it up to you guys next week. I'll go ahead and do like a double review. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it now. This is going to be this guy here. So we're going to be reviewing him Tuesday, Wednesday tops. And then after that, I'll end up doing another kit that I assembled a while ago. It's actually going to be related to one of the things in here. So just showing you guys off some little things you can do here with extra accessories. Oh, okay, that's what this is. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. It's a little thing for holding the rest of the stuff here. The hands. So that's cool. So we're going to go ahead and put this thing to the side. I actually put it here just to cover up some of this. Actually put accessories if the camera ends up wandering over there. So first up here, I'm going to go say it right now. This is related to the kit I'm going to review. I unboxed the Dejay a while ago. The RE100 is there. So I'm going to end up reviewing that. So when I finally end up building this guy, I can kind of compare them a little bit. So of course, their RE100 is going to be a 1:100 scale. This is going to be a 144 scale, as it is a high grade. And if I'm not mistaken, I do not believe they did the Zeta version of the Dejay. So if that's the, I'm going to assume they probably did, seeing as this is a He-Man exclusive. I could be wrong. I'd have to look into it. But this thing was made in 2019, so this thing is actually a decent bit old. I had no idea this thing even was a thing. But moving on. So this being a high grade, of course, not much in here. You just got a couple of, a few trees here. Looks like for the guns. Some of that turquoisey color for the body. Some grays, some yellows here for a bit of the details in this guy. They have some stickers here. Looks like one's for the gun, for the eyes. I'm sure some extra detailing around this thing. And I believe those are the beam saber effect parts for the beam effect parts for the Naginata. Some deep reds here, some more grays. And these are going to be for the backpack there. So it's going to be a similar build to the RE100 where you have to fill in the rest of those little wings for the backpack. So not too many runners here, so I'm sure this thing will be relatively simple to build. So hopefully I can knock this thing out on Monday, which is usually one of the days I build. This appears to be okay. Now this is that's interesting that they this confirms it then, because here's the manual for the original design. I didn't know they had a collaborator of this thing. All right, yeah, because it's just stuff here showing us some of the extra effect parts. I'm sorry, accessories and some of the extra, or rather the exclusive pieces for this thing, which is going to be for the head. So I'm going to assume the head's going to be a little different from the standard high grade version of this thing. Yep, so that explains why this is a P Bandai variant. It indeed is a bit different from the default version. So I guess I'll go ahead and look at the manual of this thing here. So I'll give it a quick little once over. So you of course have the finished build of this thing. I'm going to assume this thing wasn't too old, because that looks like an Action Base 5, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong. Some of the stuff here is in English. So yeah, this thing definitely has to be a bit newer. So I'm going to assume this thing came out probably around 2018 or 19. So of course, I have some of the stuff here telling you the ins and outs of building the model kit. A lot of steps here look relatively simple. As you can see, just a few steps here, and you have the body done, head, no more complicated, along the arms here. You have some of the stuff here in English here, so that's just explaining this thing's history, the accessories and what have you there. And you have a little bit more information on this thing, and I'm sure the pilot armor array. I always thought that the J was a bit of a weird suit because it's based off the Gelgoog, which, of course, Amuro famously piloted against in the One-Year War here with his Gundam. So it's very interesting that he ended up piloting basically the successor to the Gelgoog here. But yeah, I believe that's about it. Shit, I think I didn't quite cover some of this stuff. I'm just going to show it off anyway. Although the build's not really too important. Some of you guys might be interested in seeing this stuff, so I will show it off. So that's going to be it for this thing. So very good to get some insight into the fact that there indeed was a high-grade Dejang. I always thought that was one of the few that they did not do. So that confirms that pretty much at this point, the only high-grading they ever made, Mobile Suit they never made a high-grade of in the later series was the Bolinoic Saman, which I really would love to see. Oh, and the Psycho Mark 2, but let's be honest, it'd be pretty crazy if they ever made another high-grade Master Grade. But hey, we are getting the Destroy Gundam soon, so who knows. So, getting to the task at hand here, the Gundam Rose. So, me being in the States, G Gundam was a very popular show. My initial run of this thing, of watching G Gundam, I did not remember this thing at all, this or the Gundam Maxter, but when I watched it the second time when I got back in the Gundam years later, I love this thing. I just love the fact that it's a Gundam with bits. And I honestly find it very strange that this thing is a P Bandai exclusive. As you can see, even has some of the stuff that you see around the box for a standard release, where it shows off what this thing's about and what have you. But it is a bit more muted with some of the around the box stuff than you see with a normal release. But I'm seriously confused as to why an original kit here is P Bandai exclusive. I don't know if it's because it was P Bandai's idea to make this thing, or they don't think it's sell enough, so they want to do more of an exclusive run. But regardless, I'm happy to have it. And I also can say this thing sold out immediately during its first run. And then for those of you who are tuned into Gundam news and releases, they're making the Gundam Maxter, and that thing sold out immediately too. So I'm gonna have to wait for them to make a second run of this thing, much like the Gundam Rose, to get it. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys right now, out of all the G Gundams, the Gundam Maxter is my favorite. It originally was the Dragon Gundam when the series first came out, but it shifted to the Gundam Maxter when I watched it over again. And as you can see, these are the accessory parts here. Not only do you get it included Action Base 5 and this nice clear blue color here, but also some effect parts for the bits, which is amazing. So one of the main reasons why I ended up getting this thing is because I already have a real grade Burning Gundam, so, or rather God Gundam. So this thing will fit in scale with it and look decent enough with it. I would love to hold out for a master grade, but let's be honest, that probably won't happen. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get this thing. If they ever do manage to, or rather decide to make a master grade of this guy, I could probably just end up coloring this high grade gold or something like that. That'd be pretty cool to do. So, of course, this being a high grade, nothing too fancy with this build. You can build it rather quickly. I just can't wait to get this thing all built because the Gundam Rose is so cool. It's also like the first mobile suit, if I'm not mistaken, that ever had a blue and beam saber. I do not count the High Nu because I'm pretty sure it's made, or whether you want to count the manga or whatever. I think that manga came out much later than G Gundam did. I worded that really weird, but I just got off of work, so excuse me if I'm like not phrasing things right here. I just really wanted to go ahead and get this unboxing done because I got this thing the day before, but I didn't have the time to review this thing or rather unbox this thing, especially seeing as those darn kids over there at their band practice, and good luck getting any videos out while they're over there banging a drum. So moving on to the next kit here, and that is going to be the Master Grade Powered Gem. So this came out 2016. However, this thing is heavily based off of the Gem Kai, which in turn was based off of the Master Grade Verka RX-78-2. So it was very weird that they waited so long to ever make this thing, especially seeing as literally all this is a slightly different chest from the Gem Kai and backpack. But then it reuses a lot of accessories from the I think it's called a Gem Type B, if I'm not mistaken. That was the ground version of the Gem Type C, aka the Gem Kai. So I think it is Gem Kai. I'm sorry, Gem Type C and B. I don't know if it was the Gem Type A and B, but relevance. So as you see here, first off, we have some water slide decals for the numberings. And some logos you could put on for this guy. You have this awesome orange color here. Some clear pieces here. I'm not sure what those are going to be for, but I know one of them at least is for the camera. So fortunately with this thing mostly being just a rehash of the original Gem Kai, that thing came out around 2002 to 2006, I'd say. It was one of those years this thing came out. Well, the Gem Kai came out, so I'm not going to expect anything too fancy from this thing. In fact, now I think about it, I think that last plate I just looked at had to have been the original plate for this, the Gem Kai, but colored orange. I think that what I was just looking at, the beam saber in there, was the newer stuff. I would have had to have looked at the thing in detail to see what year is actually affected. I might be able to do it here. So yep, 2002 for this one. Let me look at that one more time. Yep, so this one's the new plate. This is 2016 on it. Yeah, so okay. That confirms my suspicion. I'm sure if I look at this one as well, it if I could get around the back of it, can't see. I can't see numbers on this one, but I'm pretty sure that was one of the original plates. And these are yep, this one says 2002, so these are all reused stuff more so. We got some stickers in there. This looks like it's going to be for the frame, shield, hat, I'm sure this is more original parts. Yep, definitely. Just seeing those pilot figures alone tells you that. And it's just looking around this thing definitely looks reminiscent of the Jim Kai I've built before, which, fun fact, was my first Master Grade ever built. But unfortunately, that thing is in tatters, much like most of the original kits I built when I first started off building Master Grade. So I might be able to dig that thing out my shoebox and get something going, but it's not going to be pretty. So I love to see this. This thing is using an actual manual. It's not one of the cheap, stupid P Bandai manuals you usually see, like the one you see not too long ago, the Gundam Rules, which is an original kit. I'm not sure if it even uses anything, and use that stupid cheap setup. And this thing looks like it is going to cut a few corners here and there. I doubt we're going to see anything colored inside this thing, let alone like some sort of explanation. It also seems to reuse some of the original explanations from the Jim Kai on how to build this thing. So just tell just by how old this thing looks, like the way they instructed it, and the fact that there's like almost no English in there, just letters, you know, English alphabets, I should say. But yeah, they reused as much from the original construction as possible, I'm sure. I'm very curious as to how things are going to look when we get around to the newer parts, how they're going to explain how to build that stuff. Yeah, one thing I love that these things did, they had the core block there. It's always cool seeing the core block here. And again, that goes into the fact this thing was based off the Gundam Verka. It uses the core block system in place of the core fighter, so that's why they even have that part showing instead of just kind of being connected and all that. Then there's that weird thing it did here where some of the accessories here, or rather the bits for the rifle, it's like this is the core unit to it, and then you kind of switch out some of the muzzles and whatnot to create a different rifle, which was a really weird thing that they did for this thing. And I wasn't much of a fan of, as opposed to just having separate rifles. They part swapped it, which they would go on to do at another time with the whatchamacallit, the Zaku 2. That thing had a bazooka that you convert into the giant bazooka, which is like really weird that they did that. And I just love the color of this thing. In fact, it's just a clear white, much like the Gundam would have, and then there's like the orange and white look really good together, as opposed to that funky teal color that usually the Jims had. I never mind the sand color that they had for some of the Jims, but the teal always bothered me. It's such a strange color for me to use. So one thing I pointed out on one of my boxes, I'm sorry, on my unboxing last week is, yeah, I see this is like the logo on the back of that thing here, which I've never seen on a model kit before, so that's very interesting that they did that. But moving on to our final kit here, and that is going to be the Jim Cannon. So I've already built and reviewed the Master Grade Jim, which this is based off of, and by the way, this thing is a very big box. It's not very deep as compared to like the Power Jim here, which I can quickly show off, but it is very wide. So I'm expecting there's probably gonna be a lot of big parts here, but anywho, I love this box art, by the way. Well, that's that monochromatic color that all the P Bandai stuff is. I don't know, it just looks really cool the way they have this thing shown. So if I could get a year here, this thing was 2015, so a bit older than the Master Grade Jim 2.0, which I believe would have came out probably around like 2009. Yep, so got that. So this must be something newer they're doing with a lot of these now. The sticker on the bottom. Okay, getting on into this thing. Yep, huge plates here. So of course, this is mostly going to reuse stuff from the Gundam 2.0 as well as Jim 2.0. And if I can see it, if I can get a year here. Oh, let's say 2008 actually. So one crazy thing about the Gundam 2.0 is it came out just a year after the Zaku 2 2.0, and there's just like so much improvements off that thing. Like for example, the Gelgoog 2.0 used a screw in a hand, which is really weird. A lot of polycaps, whereas I'm pretty sure these things aren't going to use any polycaps at all, very many. Of course, has some water slide decals for numbering and all these symbols and whatnot around this thing. And this is just going to be a kit that I'm going to really enjoy building, because much like the Power Gem, it's been years since I built the original. So a lot of this stuff is going to be new and fresh to me, as I'm not going to really remember what it was like building the original thing. So these stickers also look really strange. I've never seen them stylized like this before. That you have the nice little extra pieces of armor over the legs. For those of you who do not know the history of the Gem Cannon, this is a Mobile Suit Variations suit. I believe it made an appearance in Zeta Gundam, where most of the other variation stuff, they were just kind of in the background and didn't really do anything fantastic. Probably just got shot down like immediately. But I still thought this thing was cool, and I had to have it. And much like the Power Gem, it actually has a colored manual, a full manual at that, not one of the stupid bootleg ones that reuses someone else's manual that has another manual in there to show you how to put on the rest of the stuff. So this is, of course, going to be a bit of a newer kit than the Power Gem was. So as a result, as you'll see here in the inside of the manual, things are a bit more streamlined. There's still like no English here, just letters from the English alphabet, but it just looks a bit more simpler and easier to build. So the Power Gem, even though it's a bit of a newer kit, I definitely wouldn't recommend that for a beginner. This one, if you're intermediate, you might be able to get this thing done with little to no problem, especially if you're slow and take your time with it. It's also another thing I wanted to mention. The head of the Gem Cannon is a bit different, because this thing is basically the Federation's second attempt at a gun cannon, a mass-produced gun cannon, as the gun cannon was always a bit more of a higher-performing mobile suit than a Gem series. So as a result, they mass-produced the gun cannon a bit more cheaper with the Gem cannon here. So that's why it kind of has a bit of a few similarities to the gun cannon, as well as, of course, the Gundam, because it still is a Gem, which stands for Gundam mass-produced. So just looking at this thing, like I'm looking around, I don't see anything. Oh, no, there are polycaps here, but that's one interesting thing about the 2.0. The 2.0s use polycaps, but those things are like solid as a rock. Like, they do not loosen up over time much at all. Like, I have a Gem sitting on my shelf right now. I've had that thing in the same pose for weeks, if not months. That thing hasn't budged. Granted, I barely play around with that thing compared to, let's say, like the Turn-A Gundam, my Gundam F91, which I played around with a lot, because those things were like the best master grades I had in my collection at the time. So I like played around those things a lot, just gawking at how amazing they were compared to, let's say, my Gem Kai, which I had before. And this thing, of course, used the core block system, much like the Power Gem, which is a cool thing that they threw in there. Mostly, of course, because the fact that it's based off the Gundam, which had the core fighter system. But as you can see here, this thing also includes the beam spray gun and bazooka. So it's very cool that in addition to this thing having the shorter mounted cannon, it still has some additional weapons to hold on to as well. So this thing just looks really cool. I just love the design of the Gem Cannon. I can't not wait to go ahead and build this thing. So that's it for this unboxing, and I'm going to leave it off the same way I always leave these things off. Number one, by finishing putting this thing away. Oh, I'm struggling a little bit with this corner. Excuse me here. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and throw everything from the boxing side by side next to each other. 1 second while I get the rest of the stuff. And for those of you brave enough to comment down below, I'll leave it up to you. Which one of these things would you guys love to see me do an unboxing of here? I'm already leaning towards the J first, just because I don't think I've seen any reviews of the J up online. If they were, I didn't bother actually searching up them, and they weren't recommended to me, but I'm probably going to be building the J first. Seeing as this thing's 2019, I'm sure someone's done a review of it, but I'm still leaning more towards doing that. And then I probably end up doing the Gundam Rose here. And hopefully, if I have the energy and time to, I'll be able to bang both of these things out Monday and Tuesday, just so I could go back onto building some more of the stuff, because I am extremely backed up on on kits. I'm literally standing in front of a bunch of my boxes here of packages, and I am afraid to even show you guys. So this is frightening how many I have just packed full of kits that I need to get on with. And it's like, I seriously need to get the light out, or I'm building a lot of these kits here, so I could make up some room here. It's looking like a warehouse inside my house here. But I also forgot this little insert here. It must have fell when I was picking out some of the boxes here. But we have, what else is available on premiumbandai.com. So we of course have the metal build Hi-Nu Amuro special color here, which is super expensive. I think it's gotta be like $200 or something. And then of course, I wanted to show this first just so I could laugh at the fact that I actually have the Gundam Rules here. But I don't believe they have the Stormbreaker online anymore. They still have this Targi, if I'm not mistaken. I don't believe they have any more of the area. I think that thing might have finally sold out. But if you want that Targi, it's available. So if you're interested, pick that thing up. I said I wasn't because I already have a kit in mind I want with a Lance. I already have the Wing Zero Ver.Ka, which I'm sure those wings basically are stolen from this thing, but customized a little bit. So I'd rather just have a vanilla Targis rather than that. Although I'll admit it is tempting, but I'm gonna have to pass. But geez, I'm tired. I'm stumbling over my words, and this video is getting long enough as is. So again, this is Rare Mod Reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. I thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next review.